We'd like to call the meeting to order. For the business. Just.
Good evening. My name is John Claggett. I reside at 108 J Lane, Providence, North Carolina. I am a Caswell County resident. I would like to bring your attention to the Vietnam War Veterans Recognition Act that was signed into law in 2017 and the governor's proclamation of March 29th as Vietnam Veterans Day 2 years ago. Here's a brief summary of who those veterans are. They're the old guys that volunteer their time to deliver your Meals on Wheels in conjunction with your senior center, to build ramps for the needy in conjunction with your senior center, to decorate your square for Independence Day and Flag Day, to help fundraise and build a veterans memorial that you now claim as a tourist attraction without using a cent of public funds, to assist with the annual Christmas parade and hoedown, to sponsor Memorial Day and Veterans Day ceremonies, to work the polls for your elections. 6 never came home, whose names are inscribed on your tourist attraction. So why are these individuals, all inclusive, so repeatedly unrecognizable from the Caswell Board of County Commissioners, as their merits and service are nowhere to be found on either of your March scheduled meeting agendas? I'm not speaking on behalf of veterans. I'm speaking on behalf of the public. I thank you for your time, and most assuredly, I thank them for theirs and would encourage you to do the same.
Anyone else in the public? Not public comments closed. Recognition.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
I have a couple of recognitions. I'd like to recognize a few people in departments. This board is well aware. Back on March the 9th, vehicle ran through Court Square building, causing extensive damage prior to destruction. I'd like to thank the following: Yankton Fire Department, Providence Fire Department, Leesburg Fire Department, Anderson Fire Department, Yankton Fire Chief, who was actually the scene commander that night, as well as Assistant Fire Marshal Kenneth Everett. Their quick response prevented the possibility of us losing that building, as well as several adjacent buildings that connected to it. I'd also like to thank our maintenance department personnel, especially our director, Mr. R.D. Hayes, Solid Waste, for bringing up a container that night and assisting with the cleanup. Emergency Management, North Carolina State Highway Patrol, Caswell County Sheriff's Office, Caswell County EMS, Caswell County School Maintenance Director Alan Petit, who was actually on scene that night as a fireman, but he assisted. Ace Home and Building Center owners Brian Lunsford, and Corey Thompson, they opened their business up that night, so the maintenance staff could get lumber there to shore that structure back up. Last but not least, our Deputy County Manager, Ms. Melissa Williamson, HR Director Ashley Powell, they worked hard over the weekend, contacted the insurance companies, seeing the protocol was followed, and to see that our staff was assisted in getting what they needed that weekend. Great example of our employees and volunteers working together in the right situation, and I just like all of them to know that we're thankful. Thank you.
Anyone else? I'd just like to say I was there that day, and I also want to thank Ray, he was there also on the scene when I got there, operating there with the fire departments. So I congratulate you for bringing that up. I was going to look for time. Thank you. Thank all of them that helped. Okay, we'll move on. Approval of the agenda. Rick, second by. All in favor saying aye. All opposed? Carried now. Approval of the consent agenda, look on the back, see something about there too. I just haven't looked at it. All that's included. Okay, need a motion to approve it.
That's the agenda packet. Just looking at it.
Motion made by Rick. Second by Ms. Gwen, all in favor saying aye. All opposed? Carried unanimous. Okay, next on the agenda be Memorial Library Advisory Board. Pratchett. Bishop.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. Tonight I'm going to request that we reinstate the library board as it was prior to August of 2023 when the board was dissolved. I'm happy to give more background information if needed or answer any questions.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
can you tell us the difference between the library advisory board and Friends of the Library?
Of course, yeah. So the Friends of the Library is actually a designated 501c3 nonprofit. So they appoint their own board and find their own board, and they don't really have any official capacity as a county organization, as a board or otherwise. They operate completely independently as a 501c3. So we wouldn't have any ability to appoint members to their board.
Well, what does Friends of the Library do compared to the
Right.
committee you won't reinstate is really what I'm asking.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The Friends, operate in a support, capacity, a lot of that being fundraising, helping out with programs and fundraising, which is an aspect that a library advisory board really doesn't get into in any way, shape, or form as far as the fundraising. So there really is a separation of what the two do.
Anyone else have any questions?
It's common for libraries to have a Friends of the Library board. It's also common for them to have an advisory board, but not all libraries have an advisory board. But in no case that I'm aware of are the two ever the same thing.
Do you have volunteers that want to serve on this board that have come to you?
That's going to take some work.
I didn't know if the
Admitted,
previous
yeah.
members have shown any interest in coming back.
I am not even going to contact anybody until after the meeting. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, so I haven't put it out there yet.
I think in some of this literature that you had, I think the board will be appointed by the county commissioners, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what.
But just like all the other county boards.
Right. And I think it was asking us to appoint a vote. Also. Correct.
We make recommendations for all of them, entire board or those, so
Most time we make recommendations for most people.
I believe my clerk could be just like other boards that apply.
Yeah, they would have to apply. We would put it on the website and in the newspaper that the board was being reinstated, and then they would send us applications, and then I would bring those things to the board.
The vote would be to reinstate the advisory board.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what he's asking for, so. The library advisory board, I think I was right in Friends of the Library. Be completely separate.
Correct, absolutely. At this point, as far as the state of North Carolina is concerned, we don't have a library advisory board. They don't consider what was put in place at that time to be a legitimate representation of a library.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we reinstate the library advisory board.
So. And the motion made from. To reinstate the advisor for library vote. You heard the motion, you ready for any questions? You got a question?
no.
All in favor then say aye. All opposed? Heard you.
I appreciate it.
I'm going to presentations, right? Third. Probably didn't hear you. Yes, I saw. That's the right thought, is there? Transportation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Tonight, I'd like to start out introducing Jeremy Delap. He's our new district engineer, replacing Jason Julian. So Jeremy's got 22 years experience in the district office and maintenance. And so I think we're very fortunate to have him coming in. So I just want to really introduce you, have a face with a name. And secondly, thank you for the passing the resolution at the last meeting for the Dall Branch Road. I know we discussed that several months ago. We were fortunate to find funding for that. So we're anxious to get that project started, get that ready. So if there's any questions, we'd like to answer any questions you have.
I appreciate you finding funding for that.
Got one question. Highway 86 North Bridge look like it's on schedule.
I heard, before I left the office, within a month, they're going to be switching over. So, yeah, I think it's progressing pretty good. So.
On 62, going north to Milton. That road got, with all these hot spots in it, almost shake the car hard going across. Have you got any plan for that?
Not at the moment. We need to figure out what happened there because it wasn't resurfaced too long ago. And yeah, I know what you're talking about with bumps. Yeah. I'll follow up with that.
Is there any plans in the future in Castle right now? Projects coming up?
Well, there's, we got some AST getting ready to start up next week, 3/20, March 26th. That's left over from last year. And there's other few projects that's on out a good ways.
ASD is.
Oh, it's like tar and gravel. I'm sorry.
And what we can do is start providing a list, just to add to the minutes, of project updates, kind of schedules where we are on things. We have a sit rep that I get once a week, for our projects, but I'll be glad to provide that. And then we will also have the upcoming project, existing projects and schedules, kind of timeline where we are, and then the upcoming kind of near future projects, and then projects that we have scheduled out. And then any other spot safety projects like that. I know we have a couple that we're looking at right now, some locations on 86 where we've got some offset. Instead of a signal, we're looking at doing some of that as a safety project. So, but we able to come back at any time and give you an update. We're glad to.
You mentioned signal. I believe I mentioned to you last time you were here, 86 and 119, 86 and 49. Have you done any checking? Do you know?
They've studied that and it just doesn't warrant signals right now. But we won't give up on that.
All right, that's right.
Any more questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Move on, number 9, which won't scratch it off. Tell that was it, scratch number 9 off. And we'll move on to other item, Mr. Patrick Fitzgerald, library grant.
I'm up again. The National Alliance on Mental Illness and the Chamber of Commerce approached me about wanting to do a very small grant project, and that would involve the National Alliance providing us with about a couple dozen books and asking us to put on a program geared towards children and mental illness. I'm recommending that we approve the grant as it was presented to us.
The grant was $750, no match, if I'm wrong.
No match.
Any questions from the board? Let's place the vote. I'll make a motion. Mr. Lakeland, Mr. Second. Second by Ms. Gwen, all in favor, saying aye. Opposed? Carried enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda will be the radio equipment grant. Ms. Kenny Kirk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Tonight, I'm coming here to talk about radio equipment grant that we so graciously got from the North Carolina 911 Board. We put in for 3 portable radios to sit on each of our consoles that we are approved for. We were awarded those last month. The cost is $24,992.67, which all of it, 100% is fully refundable back from the 911 Board. We just have to put the funding up initially to make the purchase. We have from now till February of 25 to get that completed. So it's a 15-month project altogether. Once it's the radios arrive, we'll send all our paperwork in and that project will be refunded back to us. So I'm asking for approval for that and the contract to be signed. It's due April 1st. And then after that, we're eligible to go ahead and make our order for our radios and get that taken care of. And then we could allocate the funding in the next budget year if the board chooses.
I understand this, one thing I'm not clear on, I think are you asking the county to pay the $24,992 and get it reimbursed later?
Yes, sir. That's how it works. When we order the radios and they come in, we will make the initial payment and then we submit the paperwork right after and they will reimburse us for that full amount.
Who was it you said reimbursed?
The North Carolina 911 Board.
Do the radios do that the current radios do not do?
So these are 3, these type that we put in for are multi-band, so they cover a UHF and an 800 Viper frequency. And so they set on each one of our designated consoles as a backup. So if our radio system goes down and another 911 center takes our calls, they're able to communicate back to us without having to use the phone. Let's say the phone were to go down as well, that gives us a backup. It also gives us the state operating emergency channels that you're able to talk to. So the first Thursday of the month, they do a statewide radio check for all the PSAPs in the state. And those that gives you another option. You could call in and you have to actually pick up and announce that you have radio capability, which we do not have at the current time.
Any more questions? Vote no. I understand this money can only be used for this grant, right?
Yes, sir, that's correct. Only the initial payment up front, and then it's fine.
Any more questions from both?
Jennifer, do we have the money to do this at the time?
Yes, we do.
Need to approve the grant.
Motion made by Mr. Yarby, second by Mr. McBride. All in favor, any questions? All in favor? The motion pays. Say aye. All opposed? Great, unanimous.
Thank you.
Next detail. Health insurance.
Yes, sir. So the last meeting, we had to notify them about continuing with the health insurance premium change. Well, come to find out, we actually have to have the breakout known before budget time because they have to program all of the software in order for us to do the online virtual process that we've gone through after COVID. Saves a lot of time and expense and all of the staff having to come in to do that virtually and online. So we have Mr. Dave Costa with us tonight. I like to work with Dave for a couple of years and he is kind of the numbers guru. So we are presenting that to you this evening and he can kind of walk you through the scenarios in your packet. I think the simplest way to look at it is if you look at the initial sheets. At the very bottom on the left, you can see what the current county contribution is per employee. And then there's a whole array of scenarios. You can break it out and you can kind of custom tailor it almost any way you wish. But that gives you a general sense of what it's going to versus what it is currently. And how that breakout is paid for. The total impacts is around $100,000 approximately. So how they do that, whether the county picks up that full 100,000 or if there's a cost share of some percentage, we just need to get a determination on how you'd like to do that this evening. And so we've invited Dave. I thank you, sir. So if you don't need any more explanation, he's here. He's an expert in all this and I appreciate him being available.
Any questions? More questions?
Or for Mr. Costa.
Okay.
It's the same insurance all county employees use, different departments. Big one.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, how do we, I know you're requesting certain things that we pay for. How do other county employees, are we doing that with them as well, or just y'all?
So this is all employees that are under the county umbrella. So anyone who, this is just health insurance. So the dental, the vision, all the other options are increased. They do manage some of that as well. But that's the raises and increases. Some of those decreased this year because of the caps and how the plan users were doing last year. This is only for medical. So Dave actually does all of the entities in the CHIP program. And it's an array of how they provide benefits. Most of that's determined by your size, by the number of people in the plan, but being grouped with them, we went through that on the initial presentation. This is kind of how do you want to break out the payment part? And he's here to really get into the weeds if you need to, about how to do that. Or you know, they give us suggestions and we bring that to you, so it's easier to kind of take the middle person out.
Question back, actually, or either Jennifer, I'm not sure who needs to answer this. Are all your county employees that are on a base plan, or let me rephrase it, are all county employees regardless of what plan they're on, whether they're on the base plan or the highest buy up there is, are they receiving the same financial benefit?
Correct,
Okay, everybody's on the same,
correct.
okay.
And that's what we're aiming for this year too, that way everybody gets the same equal amount of benefit across the board.
Or regardless of what the board decides as far as,
Numbers, we're gonna keep it.
but everybody will still be receiving the equal benefit. If they buy up, it just costs them more out of pocket. Okay, all right. Now, I'm looking at these charts, Dave. I guess y'all need to talk to you, maybe, but these charts here that are showing the, the base plan and, going down there to the buy plan. I don't see the cost per employee. Am I missing something here? I see the total is, but not per employee.
Yep, so I think if you focus on page 2, that's numbered here. It shows the combined plans at the bottom, which shows the aggregate numbers, but right above it, it does break out the per employee cost. For example, page 2 is an example that assumes that the county takes on all the increase and thus leaves the employee contribution amounts the same. But you could see once again on page 2, the middle section, it shows employee only 42.45, it remains 42.45.
You can put that on the board where we can have you point down with PowerPoint what you're
I
talking
sure
about.
can.
It's right here.
Yeah.
Where it says employees.
Okay,
If you
and
come
the blue,
straight
I was
above.
looking in the black for you. I got you.
Yep, and I look at these every day, so if I need to slow down, just stop me. But to my point, page 2 here shows the buy-up plan, and this is an example where the county eats the whole increase and the employees do not. So that equates to a $33 increase for the county, and you see that on the bottom rates right here, 673. That flat amount goes up to 708. So they're taking on the whole increase, and you'll see that the employee portions stay the same. So once you add the employee and the county portion together, it equals that total funding rate. So really, it's just showing us basically a flat $33 increase on all of these tiers to fund the $100,000 that needs to be funded to cover the expenses on the plan next year. So the other example to look at, I'm jumping to page 4 here, but this is an example that's more of a 50-50 type split between the increase. So once again, the total increase being $100,000, this basically puts 55,000 of that on the county and 45,000 of that on the employees through payroll deductions. And you see that in this example where the county piece, instead of going up $33, it's only going up about $20 or so here, right? And then the employee portion, it's a little bit mixed, the increases to get everything right. But for example, I could play around with these further, but it achieves the same outcome. So it's about a $20 increase for employee only, about $20, a little bit less than $20 for spouse coverage here, $20 for child, about $18 for children, and about $30 for family coverage. When you add all of those together and focus on these combined plans at the bottom, you'll see the cost total going up $100,000. That's why 2.25 million is the new total, 2.15 million is the old total. And of that $100,000 increase, you could see the employees going up by 45,000 in total and the county going up by 55,000 in total. So once again, just an example where we're splitting the increase versus the county eating the full increase.
So, going back to the numbers from the last meeting, and I don't have them in front of me, Mr. Rhodes does. I think I remember that if we went 50-50, that the employees' cost would go from 15 to 25, am I right?
Yes.
For the base plan.
Yep. Yes.
That's this, yep, right here. Yes, sir.
This chart looks-
So that's on page 3 and 4, the 50-50.
So. Question for you, Jennifer. If the board chose to go 50-50. On the base plan, employee only, employees are gonna pay $25 a month compared to 15 they're paying now, correct? The total cost to the county, if we go that route, is $1 million. Am I looking at that right at the bottom?
That's just on the base plan. I would
Yeah.
focus at the total at the bottom of these plans, because the combined plans together, the base and the buy-up, I think that once again, that shows the 100,000 total, 45 on the employees, 55 on the county.
On the buy plan optional.
It's optional, yes,
So if employees wanted to buy up, they can. If they don't want to buy up, they don't have to. Right.
But regardless of which plan they choose,
Mhm.
make sure I'm understanding, regardless, they all receive the same financial benefit, I guess you could call it.
So if you look on the chart, the rate sheet, as Dave has it highlighted, you'll see the same amount that goes down. That's the funding that Caswell County is funding to each individual employee. It originally was $673 and some change. And this scenario right here, we're looking at going to the $692.50.
Okay. Gotcha.
Y'all remember last year, we absorbed the whole increase.
I have a question, just $25 per employee, 45, yeah. $25 per employee, that's gonna go up each month for employees, right?
Mhm,
Everything.
sir.
Well, the point I'm thinking about, if I have a family, is my insurance gonna be more?
Yes, so if you look down on the rate sheet, you will see it goes down. There's employee only, employee plus spouse, child, children, and family. There are different tiers. So if you look at 25 and work your way down, the family costs $1,150 with this 50-50 scenario a month.
We currently only have one employee and spouse. Am I looking at that right?
So that's on the base. If you flip it, you've got the buy-up and the base here.
Okay.
Yep, each have one. Each have one. Yep.
So we currently only have 243 active members on the plan.
But on the buy-up plan, employee and family, we have two. Am I looking at that right?
Correct.
And they are paying close to $1,200 a month.
Correct.
That's even worse in the private sector. I've had those kind of premiums for many, many years with smaller employers. It's nothing special as to what's going on here with the county. It's across the board.
What was it last year? You recall?
The increase?
Yeah.
I think it was Dave make it, I think it's 2.2 or 2.6.
I am pulling it up. Give me 1 second here.
Well, we agreed to take on all of that. Last year.
Oh, it's basically $15.
That's correct. There was a very small increase last year. So let me just zoom in here to show you the overall increase was 3.3%. It took our total funding from 2.14 up to 2.214. So that's an increase of $70,000. Of that, the county took most of that increase. The employees took a very small increase. And you could see that up here with the buy-up plan. So for example, last year in 22-23 plan year, they paid $41.57. It went up about $1. It went up more on the spouse. So there were increases last year, but it was mostly bore by the county.
How did that occur? Because I remember we had a long debate over this and we were going to cover all of the employees' increase last year. So how did they wind up with any of it? Because part of that was that we wouldn't be able to continue on doing that every year in the future. So I'm kind of curious as to how we passed a resolution to take all the costs and they wound up having to pay part of their own insurance increase. Maybe I'm remembering wrong. Was that what we did?
Yes.
I think it was the employee only rate you're talking about. So the folks that are covering just employee only, they stayed at $15. There was no increase to them last year. But you will see there was increases to the other tiers. So the decision was made to keep the employee flat at 15, but otherwise those other increases were bore by the employees. So for example, family coverage, you can see the jump here. Spouse coverage, you can see the jump here.
And also, commissioners, some departments that have state funding, the state is going to cover some of their insurance as well. So that will take some off of that $100,000 that the county would be paying. I'm not exactly sure what percentage that is, but estimating it probably at least around $20,000 that the state would be covering for those employees.
So my understanding from you, if the county took all of it, but the county would have to pay about $100,000.
It would end up being a little less than 100,000 once the state paid their portion.
Well, I just want to preach a little bit, not during my time. I mean, I'll tell you, I had to pay for my insurance and I'm paying $559.89 a year. But we got to realize that we're not paying our employees. Everybody paying more than we are. And, adding this to their payroll, it's gonna hurt. We don't want our people just, can't live and we all know what the cost of living is. My suggestion would be, just let the county absorb this. It's just I'm only one vote, but that's where I see it. Because we won't have employees feel like we do care. It's just the only thing I'd like to say. And I'm through. The floor open for someone else. Throw it on me, I'll take it.
Percent of our state. Do you have any idea?
I'm not sure of the percentage, but I can tell you that the health department, DSS, any of those departments that are partially funded by the state, they're gonna be covering some of that health insurance cost.
That's a pretty number for the health department. So
It's probably close to 90.
Anything that where the state pays a portion of the salary, they gonna pick up a portion of the increase.
Yes, sir.
you're saying it would be about $20,000 savings.
Estimated, yes,
Yeah.
Is this something they've been doing previously?
yes,
Okay.
Irregardless of which way we go, where would this come from? Where would this money come from?
It would be a budgeted item in the 25 budget year. So that is basically wherever we decide to fund, it would come from where we normally fund our health insurance and our dental and expenses like that. It would just be a budgeted item.
So it's an increase to the overall expenditures.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
and thereby is, put it in layman's terms, it's got to come out of the taxpayer's pocket. I don't go along with absorbing this whole increase because the health insurance has been on a upward path for many years. And in the private sector, as I said, I was paying $1,200 a month for family coverage. I am sympathetic to the county employees, but if we don't start passing along some of these cost increases, it just keeps morphing and morphing, and you see the numbers on the board. It's just gonna keep on going up, and we said last year when we talked about this, we covered the increase, but going forward, we talked about there were no guarantees for continuing to do so. Some point in time, we gotta draw a line and say that we gotta start passing some of this cost on. That's my opinion on the topic.
What can you live with, Mr. Dixon? Percentage wise.
What you have in mind, Mr.
I asked a question, sorry.
I just went out on a limb.
I'm not trying to solve him off now, I'm not trying to solve him off. I want to see if we're on the same mindset, because I'm thinking that we're gonna have to ask the employees to keep it part of it.
What if we did 50-50, what would that look like? I'm not looking at all these numbers right now.
The employees, if I'm not mistaken, the employees would pay an additional $10 a month for employee only.
Okay. What would that family, they talk about that?
That wouldn't come into play.
That would come into.
Yeah, we would.
The family would be around $25 in the example I've put together here. So this is the base plan we're speaking to, but it's going from 1125 to 1150. So a $25 increase to family. This is $18 or so on children. $20. So I made these numbers nice, solid, round numbers, but you can see the average is it averages between $10 and $20 the increase per month.
I mean, everything's going up. We should be on the other day about thought I'd tell you, but.
One of y'all got to put a line in water and fish. Can't all be looking at water. You gotta wade in there.
You throw it out there, we'll stay with the vice.
I fought this hard last year, lost. Got nothing. So, I mean, if I could get half, that's better than what I got last year.
I support that.
I can live with that.
It's true. I mean, we got to look at it, and I understand what y'all saying, unpaid some, but because we know that they not making money on the county sky. We got something that we just, train them, they go elsewhere to get more money, insurance rates much cheaper. So that's why I thought that idea too. The votes counts. Self.
I appreciate your thoughts on it, Mr. Jeffries, but I'm looking at the numbers, going from 15 to 25, I don't think it's gonna break anybody. And it kind of sets a precedent that we can't keep absorbing all the increases every year for the insurance.
But I understand where you come from too, but the point is, what I'm trying to say, at the end of that payroll, check ain't like the rest of them. I mean, everything going up. Well, we can't continue to put a lot more on the employee to pay and expect them to stay here and do the job. That's what. And she said it would be $100,000, probably $80,000. $80,000, I don't give tax, but that's all I got to say. Finished, and I'm gonna call for the vote. Yeah, so hoping somebody else.
I'll make a motion that the county have the proposed increase in employees absorb the other half. Motion and second.
I got a second. Second. It's been moved proper second that the county resolve that employees insurance rate. Y'all heard the motion in the question. I want to let you vote by raising your hand on this. Nobody vote that. You see. This is my favorite. Oh, yeah. You say no, unless I still believe you. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Dave, for being with us and assisting us with that.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Okay, we'll move on to finalists. A resolution for firework. Mr. Scott.
Yes, sir. So last year, Shannon Petrie, our inspections department employee, brought to the attention that you have to pass by, under general statute, state law, you have to pass by county resolution in order to have fireworks displays. So this is the resolution. It's an open-ended resolution. So this allows for the town of Yanceyville, as I see Mayor Foster here, it allows them to do their own process. And it allows us to do that permitting, should we decide to do that, through the county. I do want to thank Shannon and Russell for helping put this together.
Sir.
We would recommend you approve it. It's still, I don't know what the fee's gonna be, for public fireworks, probably don't charge fee for the fire department, but you never know, if someone wants to do a private event, they can come and ask for a permit. So I would recommend that you approve this, and if the fire marshals and the fire chiefs, it does play into effect statewide fire bans issues, so you'd have to have controlled launch if you do have those conditions.
I think we had this before.
What is the permit process? I mean, what do they have to do to get the permit?
So we have to create that, so you'd have to come into the inspections department, they'll create a form. A minor fee is probably like $25 or $50 fee, depending on what the board sets at a later date. So they have to make sure that they have $1 million of insurance liability coverage. They have to make sure that, the fire departments are notified where they're gonna have the event, so that all the due diligence is appropriate to launch the event. A lot of times they do them near a lake, or they do them somewhere that's controllable, so that the fire apparatus can sequester any kind of issues they might have. So they just want to make sure that, are they insured? Is it licensed firearms? They have a special permit that the people that launch have to have in order to do that. So we just make sure that they meet all the state and local requirements.
Russell, you prepared this?
Actually, Shannon, the building inspector, actually found a draft, and Scott and I all been modified in its current state.
Any more questions for the council? No, you're in the town manager. What's the place? I'll make a motion.
I second the motion.
Motion made by Ray, second by Dixon, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, carried and go. Budget amendment number 14.
Okay, so budget amendment number 14. We have some background information there. So this is requested to cover the repairs to Coast Square following the car accident that we recently had. And the preliminary estimates from the insurance adjuster placed the overall cost to repair Coast Square at $500,000. The maintenance department has already received several estimates from vendors, and they are ready to begin repairs. However, funds must be allocated before any payments to vendors can begin. So we are recommending, in order to expedite the repairs and get Coast Square back to operational status, their tenants back into their workspaces and displaced employees back into their offices. We recommend approving this budget.
Okay, who, this is the insurance says $500,000. Did we find out if that company, if he had insurance?
He did,
He did.
but
Are they gonna
we're,
cover it?
we're unsure at this moment, so NCACC, our third-party vendor Cedric, will handle all that with their attorneys and the insurance carrier, because they're unsure with it being criminal, if it'll cover it at all. But either way, no matter what, our insurance will cover it.
RD's gonna be hitting us up. We're not hiring a contractor to do this.
As far
So
as I know.
we have a building consultant who's coming in and handling the insurance, and RD's here, if you have questions with that.
Yeah. Yes, can you help me out, or
Right now, as it stands, we worked about 111 hours in a week to get the building back up and get it safe. I had to bring in a contractor, a licensed contractor, because in the state of North Carolina, it has to be a licensed contractor to ensure the safety of the building. I had to have all the old existing wire. It actually just crisped and burnt all the wiring up in the conduit in the front of the building from the fire. So I had to have it safed off from licensed electrician on Sunday. Because we did not want the main power cut from that building. We wanted to keep power on it because that opened up a whole nother workload for us. But right now, as it stands, in the past 5 days, we have shored the building, we have cleaned the building, we have redone the wiring in the front, put in temporary lighting. We have inventoried and safe packed all the salvageable furniture inside the building. And BioClean is there now, and we're gonna start soda blasting the ceiling to save the paint and integrity inside the building without trying to paint it. But the insurance adjuster come out, the engineer was here Friday, and they do have a person that takes charge and protects the insurance company and us. It's an outside guy. What he does is he comes in and draws a blueprint plan. And it basically just sets everything up and, goes in between me and the adjuster and just back and forth until we can get it figured out.
who's the licensed contractor?
The licensed contractor is Dale Simpson. He's a retired fireman from the city of Burlington. At that present time, he was the only one that I could get in touch with. And I actually got his number from the adjuster. We still gonna have to replace some of that roofing? No, sir. We peeled back 20 foot of the TPO. I had 2 different roofing companies do it. We just put that roof on a year and a half ago. So what I did is I contacted the man that put it on and got him to peel it back and give me a letter of explanation stating that wasn't nothing wrong with it to keep the manufacturer warranty. And then I contacted an outside roofing company to come and check in behind him. So I'd have 2 letters from 2 different sources from 2 totally different counties. And we did have to put back the roofing drains. I had to have that emergency done just because of the rain that was calling. I didn't want no further damage within the building. So right now, as it stands, we do have outstanding bills with some contractors that are already free vendors with the county that we need to, we need to try to take care of them because, we started Saturday night at 9:24 and we stopped Monday afternoon at 8 o'clock at night. So them guys really worked hard for what they got,
True. I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
I say $1,000 deductible. Mr. County Attorney, well,
Yes, sir.
can you be representing us at any point in time with these insurance companies?
Well, Commissioner Rose and Ashley can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think typically said with insurance, who provides our policy would have attorneys that would advocate on our behalf, but I'd gladly be involved.
Here's the problem I got. They say that this gentleman had a door, he was being criminal, they may not pay. I understand it. I'd rather call down and pay intoxicated, I had a wreck and kill somebody, it goes automatically to criminal. My insurance is gonna pay. If not pay more than we did insurance. Yeah.
I can understand them not wanting to pay his car.
Yeah, I can understand.
And they haven't officially said it yet, they just said that it could be a possibility, but they're in the process, because we're still waiting on highway patrol report. All we've got is the exchange form, so they're working on pulling that report and getting all that, and then they're working together.
Well,
But I can,
I totally understand what you're saying, he intentionally, his actions intentionally caused that damage.
I understand.
So my thing was, I just don't want them to say, well, it's a municipality, we're gonna let they get insurance, they can pay.
yeah,
When, if we didn't get but 300,000
yeah,
from his insurance, it's 300,000 more than our insurance doesn't have to pay.
well, they're gonna fight to pursue, to make them
That was
pay.
the reason I was asking about the attorney, because I think sometimes you have to push back a little bit and say, you know, this building was fine, but your client ran through this.
Yeah,
During the rebuild, if I'm not mistaken, didn't a motorcycle go through there a while back?
That's what I've heard. That's prior for me being here.
Yeah.
But the two gentlemen that y'all met from the state, I contacted them earlier this week because I think it needs to be some type of protective barrier there. But it has to go through the state because, you know, everybody says from the center line up belongs to the state. So what I've done is I've contacted them because if we put a pillar or something on that concrete, it's like the gentleman in the state told me, he said, oh, no, making a catapult. When the car hits it, it's gonna launch it, you know, instead of that. So I figured I'd go with the state and let them come up with an idea or a solution for us to try to get it resolved, or at least slow down a vehicle that comes towards the building.
I just want to recognize our dude publicly because he got in there, took charge, kept us from tagging out, locking out. They had tagged out that building and cut the meter. This would not be where it is today. Saved a lot of time. All of our staff that was there stepped up. It's just very notable.
Well, it wasn't just me, you know. It was
But the whole
crew.
team has really done an exceptional job handling this. Thank you.
Any more questions?
So Duncan, you're saying that this budget amendment that you need to approve, pay the vendors for work to be done at Coach Square, but this money will be reimbursed, hopefully by the insurance company.
Every bit of it except for that one deductible.
Hopefully we can get that plus some out of the individual that calls that. Is it correct? Okay, all right.
And I will say this, I've worked with this adjuster on another claim, and he's very laid back and very understanding to everything.
And what I'd like to say is that I know I talked to you about keeping up your time.
Yes, sir.
But Scott, you need to keep up like if they're having to do things too.
Sure.
so I'm keeping a log of everything that's happened with Coast Square along with, you know, the inventory and things like that, but I'm also keeping up with time that maintenance, me or Melissa or anybody else has been involved and total those hours together.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And the amount of documentation and photos and work that goes into this, it's really been done nicely.
RD's has done a fabulous job. He's got 1.5 inches of pictures he took, photos.
He was sending pictures up to 2 o'clock in the morning at night to my phone.
I appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Artie.
Thank you. We will need a motion to approve this money.
Move it.
Motion made by Mr. Young, second, all in favor, say aye. All opposed? Very good.
Thanks.
Okay. Number 15. Repairing of Oh, I sounds good.
So the elevator issue, so again, even though staff was extremely busy with the co-square issue, they stepped up and also got the bidders from both companies to give us a turnkey bid on the elevator and the courthouse. They do differ. I know the gentleman said that they were identical. So you have the TKE bid there and the cone bid. We've done all of the diligence, so RD has actually contacted, I don't know, Josh, the secretary's last name, I forget, the Secretary of Labor. So we have a letter from the Secretary of Labor, the state, the local fire jurisdictions, sprinklerization is not required. It's gone through and itemized all of the work that needs to be done with electrical and fans and heating and cooling and all the diligence that was in that packet. And the same estimator came out and did the bid for one is actually giving it to the other bidder. So I don't know how the prices come in different, but they both got the same information and same numbers. So you have before you a turnkey quote. I didn't speak to them myself, RD did all that work. And the one company that's significantly lower is actually gonna guarantee they'll be in there with 6 days, I believe. It's gonna be a lot quicker than the 6 weeks. They also have warranties and they also provide, and that third page you have is a maintenance program. So that's true maintenance, not just, come out and inspect it every year and do the reputation. So if you have technical questions, I hate to turn it over to RV because he's already done so much, but I think these are turnkey and ready for your consideration.
Basically, Cone was 23,578 with 18-week parts. And then 5 weeks, bank bail let it be out 5 weeks. Modernization of PKE is 148,992.54 excluding sales tax, which if my math is correct, that would be 6.75 sales tax, be $10,057, so that would bring a total of 159,049.54.
Correct.
And they don't have, but like I said, there's still an 18-week turnaround on parts, but a 7 to 10 day downtime on the elevator.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, was he? He really wasn't leaving out anything on this, TKE.
All right, what I did is I called Cone. They met with y'all last week. Cone did, the 2 engineers. And once they got to explain to y'all, they kept talking about some add-ons. And after we walked out of the meeting, I said, that's crazy. You don't give a quote and not give me a turnkey price. I said, how much do you think the add-ons are? And they said, be 60 grand. I said, no, that ain't gonna cut it. So I told them, I said, we've already reached out to another company. I'm gonna get with them. So I reached out to TKE. These guys are great. I gave him a crunch, told him he had 4 days to come up with $150,000 proposal. So they did. And what he told me is with Cone, it's a 14 to 16 week to order the parts and get them in. Cone gives you, they want another 2 to 3 months to set it up and do the work. So I called TKE. I said, look, you got to sweeten the deal. You got to make it a little better for us. He said, look, I can give you the best price we can. He said, but I can guarantee you this. He said 14 to 16 weeks on the parts. He said, it takes me 2 weeks to set up the crew. He said, and I can shut that elevator down on Thursday and I can open it back up in 7 to 10 days with a North Carolina certificate. We've been using Cone here for years. They're a good group of guys. They've been here every time we've called. But the thing about it is I always try to throw somebody new in the mix. And to be honest with you, they're hungry and they want to work. I mean, that's a fair price. And when I got the quote today, it was around 3 o'clock. And I showed Mr. Holt, I physically texted him and asked him, I said, is this a turnkey price with no hidden fees? And he said, absolutely, I'll send it to you in writing in the morning. With my letterhead on it.
He's going overhead also, right?
Yes, yes, he's going overhead. Basically, the elevator companies, like they said, they are union, so prices are about the same in the way they do it. But I don't understand that because that's what they told us. But me, 30 grand ain't, prices are the same.
And we did find out that the sprinkler system. would-
Yes, sir. I have signed letters from Shannon from our inspection department, the fire marshal, Yuri Dixon, and the Department of Elevator.
On the call centers and all that. Electrician, is his turnkey,
It's all in this price right here. There's no hidden fees whatsoever.
because they weren't covered. Only one covered.
The first call estimate you seen for 132.
Yeah.
If you look at page 21 and 22, that's your addition. If you look at the new proposal they sent today with a much higher price, if you notice, them pages are gone out of the estimate.
Okay.
So that's their turnkey price and TKE. And there's another pamphlet that you got is, this elevator stuff is only warranty for 3 months. And what they've told me is I've actually called about 4 different elevator companies just to verify that. And they all say it is because it's electrical components. And I said, well, that ain't really assuring me nothing. And he said, well, I tell you what I'll do. He said, I'll send you a copy of our gold warranty agreement. You know, it's like a maintenance agreement. He said, right now through cold, you got grease and elbow type of warranty. You know, he said, basically we come out and grease it and you call us when you need us. He said, the gold package is a little bit more money. He said, but means that we're putting it in. He said, we will service it. And he said, if you actually read through this warranty, he said, you will actually save money by buying it. To be honest with you, I really didn't have much time to look at it because he sent it to me today at 5:15, so I'm going off of his words. But so far, from the estimate he's given me and stuff, he hadn't lied to me yet, so I got a feeling it's a good warranty. I just need to check into it.
I saw something, I can't find it now, it said, jack packing.
Neither one of these quotes is the jack. Neither
I
one of
didn't
these.
know if he's repacking the cylinder.
They're gonna repack it and test it.
Okay.
And both quotes state that, but they're in both of these quotes, they're without a jack.
Right, but he's gonna repack it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And to me, I actually got to see a picture of a jack. It's like a hydraulic cylinder on a tractor.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, people repacking through them all the time. If they got a scratch in them, they're bad. But I mean, to me, I think if we repacked it, we could give it a whirl and see what we got.
It looks like, excuse me, 24,528.46 is savings with PPE versus cones.
Yes, sir.
Any more questions? RD, move forward. Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate you, RD.
Scott, this is something we need to go ahead and do before budget.
Installation be in the next fiscal year or.
Yeah.
Ready to go for the KD. So this, was $148,992.54. Thank you for that.
Mr. Chairman, it doesn't sound like there's much repair in the one we have. I move we go with TKE to replace the elevator at the courthouse.
Second. Motion made by Mr. Johnson, second by Mr. McKay. Y'all heard the motion, no question.
Well, some we can't get around. I mean,
All right, we talk.
That in the budget.
your employment kind of stuff, that you gotta get things.
I'm gonna call for the vote. All in favor saying aye. All opposed? Carried unanimous.
Thank you.
It's on the agenda, they had drugs and alcohol policy. Ms. Williams.
Yes, the US DOT published and updated a final rule with revisions to 49 CFR Part 40. This regulation is the US DOT's drug and alcohol testing regulation. The board approved updates to our last policy on May 4th, 2020. And there have been updates and revisions to the US DOT drug and alcohol testing regulations, 49 CFR Part 40 since this update. And we have updated and revised our policy to comply with the new revisions. And Mr. McNeil, the compliance specialist at DOT with Integrated Mobility Division, has approved our policy. And now we just need for the board to also approve it. And the amendments were made to ensure to consider the consistency within the DOT by removing or adjusting reference to the word urine and adding reference to oral fluid, removing and amending some definitions for conformity and other miscellaneous technical changes or corrections. And we also now are required to include 2 substance abuse professionals instead of 1. So it's more or less, it was just a lot. It's not in our procedures for how we're doing the testing. It's just more of the language in the document that has been changed by the 49 CFR Part 40. And we just have to have this approved in order to be in compliance with the new regulations.
All right, any questions from Ms. Williams? What's the pledge to vote? Motion to approve. Motion made by Mr. Rhodes, second by Mr. McCray. All, any questions? All in favor saying aye. Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
In a minute, sir.
I don't have any specific updates. I just, it's been a long week and a half for the staff, and I just want to commend all of them on the hard work that they do, and it's much appreciated.
Okay, next thing is commission comment. Yeah, all right. This past week, I had a constituent call me. I think some of you know I get a lot of calls from constituents. And they were very upset about something that took place about a commissioner screaming at somebody else. And this individual supposedly turned around and looked at the commissioner. And they said something to them, to that particular individual. And there was another commissioner there that was a witness to it. The individual that called me wanted to know what could be done about this. The only thing that I knew that could be done would be to call the ethics department in Robb. So that's what I recommended they do. But I was very ashamed to hear that something like that gone on. Yeah,
No, sir.
so.
I want to let you know that Dillard Middle School has called and requested that we send a commissioner, actually come, and also our county manager. So they're having a career day, and I want to thank Paula for making us some brochures to pass out, and she has some other things. It will be Wednesday. from 8 to 12, I believe it is. I'm not looking at the calendar right now. But in this, it's all your pictures, who they are, and that type of thing. Tells what we do. So I think this is real good for middle school. That's all.
Upcoming event, April the first, 2024, Board of Commission meeting at 6:30 p.m. is done tomorrow in August. I need a motion to go into closed session. So moved. Second. Second by Lord. Motion made by Nate. To discuss matters related to the location of expansion of investment of other business in the area served by the public body, which is hereby acknowledged North Carolina General Statute 143, 318.11, parental aid and parental control. So now we set a closed session.